Welcome to our 20th anniversary of Serve Party. This is pretty cool. I never thought we'd actually be around for 20 years, but first I just want to start by saying thanks to everyone who has supported Serve and all the nonprofits and all the causes that we've supported for the past 20 years. We couldn't have accomplished anything, any of the stuff we've done without you. So the second thing is, holy crap, this 20 years go by fast. Unbelievable. If you see my kid, my two beautiful daughters back there, you know, you saw them when they were young. Now you know how big they are. Yeah. Give it up for my girls. So it's funny because when I had an epiphany in church at a sermon 20 years ago, and God told me what I was supposed to do with the rest of my life, to start Serve, and to help only underserved causes, the causes that no one else would help and that have no money, and that we would do all that work for free, and that BBK would provide all the volunteers and resources to do it. And Lisa Lilligren would be my first executive director. All that happened in a sermon in church with about 20 other things that all happened. When it actually happened, though, when they said, you know, we wanted to start Serve, I really thought that we would start Serve and do just a couple campaigns a year, get it going. My interpretation of the epiphany was that we get Serve going, and it would be what I do for the rest of my life after I retired. And that's what I thought. And then this is what happened. This is like 70% of the organizations that we've worked with in the past 20 years. It's unbelievable. And it just goes to show you how God's plans don't always jive with what you want them to be. But the biggest takeaway I have of 20 years is that despite all the terrible news that we see on the news and on TV and social media, I've really found people to be really, really good people. And especially in the atmosphere, where people say there's not any people, they really are. When I look around the room, almost everybody in this room has helped serve and helped a cause at some point. I see people in this room right now that didn't have the time to help, but when I asked them, they always did, and you made a difference in so many people's lives. I see people who volunteered reluctantly when I asked them, maybe because I begged them, or I made them, or maybe they wanted to get a job with us, whatever. But when I watched them volunteer, I saw them grow and change and become better people for the work that they did with every kind of act of service. I see people here who have given their time and their skills to help our causes, but they just like to help quietly. They like to stay behind the scenes. They don't want anybody to know what they did. But you have helped improve people's lives in ways you'll never know. I see people here who worked at BBK and who volunteered for us, and then you left BBK, or maybe you were let go. But you continued to give back and donate your time and volunteer for Serve. That's unbelievable. And it doesn't happen anywhere else. So today I just wanted to say thank you to all of our volunteers for everything you've done for Serve, for our nonprofit partners, and most importantly, the impact that you've had on people that we've served for the last 20 years through our cause campaign. So thank you for sharing your time and your talents and treasures with us. I love you guys. I want to give you all a toast. Thank you. So I do want to, before I start, before I just out some awards, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. We've got some great sponsors for tonight that help defray the costs and help raise money for our Minority Scholarship Fund. And I also got a video sent to us just a little while ago. We got a message from the mayor, Cavalier Johnson, so here's a little message from him.
Good evening, everyone, and happy 20th anniversary to you over at Serve Marketing. I apologize that I was not able to make the big 20-year anniversary celebration tonight, but wanted to send a congratulations video for all the amazing work you've done in Milwaukee. Serve Marketing is not just your average run-of-the-mill marketing agency, but an all-volunteer, nonprofit advertising agency. In your 20 years, you've partnered with the city of Milwaukee on numerous occasions to develop campaigns to tackle infant mortality, to tackle teen pregnancy, to tackle early childhood education, and so much more. Your hard work does not go unnoticed, and I'd like to say thank you to all the volunteers and nonprofit groups who make this important work possible. And so one of the great powers that I have as mayor is to declare and proclaim individuals or organizations that do great work in Milwaukee. And so here you have a proclamation from me declaring that on Wednesday, October 12th, 2022, to be served marketing throughout the entire city of Milwaukee.
The funny thing is, I think this is our third serve day. We're all different dates, but it's awesome. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the mayor. You're always great supporters. So, before we go up, so tonight I want to start I kind of want to start a new annual tradition here. The Serve Lifetime of Service Award. I want to make this an annual event, and so to celebrate our volunteers, but to also honor everybody who's helped us. I know that I could give out awards to like over half the people in this room, but we're going to start with a few tonight. A lot of you will probably get awards in the future, but this is the first of many of these, I hope. So I just want to recognize some exceptional people, starting with some volunteers that have helped us really since day one. Rob Birdsall, he runs our print department at BBK, and he has been a serve volunteer since we started. No matter how small the budget is, no matter how ridiculous the turnaround time, Rob has always got every job done. But I always like to tell Rob, this is the best part of your job. This is incredible, right? Where else could you get to do films for a condom-covered Jeep, or print full-size fake teens sleeping on the streets, or do outdoor with pregnant boys, or scratch and sniff dirty diapers? So I think he's really lucky. But anyway, Rob has really done and seen everything he's ever done at Serve, and he does get a lot of help from Deb Shervin and John Gergen. Is John here tonight? John? Thank you, guys. It's not all Rob. I know Rob detests being in the spotlight. I think that's why he suddenly became ill today, so he couldn't be here. But I want to give Rob this Lifetime of Service Award for all he's done to help nonprofits. John, will you come up here and accept the form, please? Come on up, John. John actually does as much as Rob, but probably more. All right, Dave Coonan. Dave was at BBK as our engineer and our editor for more than a decade. Dave is not only another incredibly talented Serve volunteer, he's done everything from edit PSAs and long-form videos and radio spots and every PR montage that Heather had him do. But he helped out on shoots. He's done all the technical setup for every nonprofit event and fundraiser I've ever done, which is a lot, often on nights and weekends. But Dave is easily one of the most humble, generous, and kind people I've ever known. Like Rob, Dave only likes to stay behind the scene, never likes to be recognized, but there's nothing he wouldn't do to help one of our causes. So Dave Coonan, come on up, please accept this Lifetime Award. Terry Burmester. You all know Terry. She was an executive producer and creative director for a long time at BBK. I started working with her when we merged with McDonnell Davis. I don't think Terry liked me in the beginning, partly because I was constantly bringing her, giant production ideas for nonprofits with no budget. But the thing about Terry is that after she got done rolling her eyes at me for 2 days, and no matter how ridiculous my request was, she always went right out and figured out a way to make it happen. She's done over 70% of all the videos and TV PSAs Serve has ever done. Her work is legendary, from foster care and breast cancer men to Know Before You Know and the famous gun violence spot. Terry has not only taught me everything I know about broadcast production and doing the impossible, but she has a heart of gold for giving back and helping others. So Terry, please come up and accept your This is kind of fun. Rob Fisher. Rob is the director, as you know, and he's probably the most generous and talented person that I know. Rob has been shooting Serve PSAs for as long as we've been doing them. We've asked Rob to do $100,000 spots, $150,000 PSAs, $200,000, and then when we tell him we only have $5,000 to do it, or $10,000 to shoot, he doesn't even hesitate. He does them all, and he does them unbelievably well. They look like we spent $200,000. Sometimes we have to shoot them in Rob's bedroom, or Rob's living room, or his garage, or his warehouse. Sometimes we have to use his talents, his relatives' as talent. And Sue Carpenter and Mary Pat also have to volunteer to do all that. And, but they always, everybody comes through, always. Like I said, and his work looks like it costs $1 million. So, and more importantly though, the work you've done over the years, whether it's for foster care or domestic violence or infant mortality or sex trafficking, they've all made a huge impact on the community and on people's lives. So no one embodies the word lifetime of service more than Rob does. So Rob, come up and give me a lifetime of service. It does take a team.
It's such a big team that I work with.
Yeah. Everybody, all the crews, everybody in the community members are another volunteer who doesn't think she actually makes an impact, which drives me crazy. Susan Rasmussen. She was an account supervisor at BDK when we first started Serve. We worked together on all of BDK's healthcare accounts. And I also didn't think she liked me in the beginning too. But maybe it's because I yelled at her all the time. The work plan should be better. But she's been on the Serve board for almost since the beginning. Susan is another person that's a behind the scenes person who has a huge heart for service and for helping serve. She will tell you that she hasn't done a lot for Serve. She'll tell you that. But here's the reality. Susan's one of the biggest reasons that we've been able to help so many causes over the last 20 years. And a lot of people don't know this. You see, when we started Serve, we didn't have an actual funding plan. BDK paid for our executive director and our account people and gave us all the resources to do all the work. But we had an office space and we had to pay for tax people and computers and all kinds of stuff. And most of our nonprofits didn't have any money. So unless we sprung for the bill, for half of them, we would have never been able to even produce anything. Well, Susan figured out early on that all of our healthcare clients needed really low-cost PSAs to run during Cancer Prevention Month or Child Abuse Prevention Month, but they couldn't afford to do it on their own. They couldn't go out and take a $100,000 spot. They didn't have the budget to do it. But they could license them for 10 grand or 15 grand, or they had the money to do that. And Serve already had the spots in hand. So she figured out, hey, let's put these two things together. So all of our healthcare clients licensed our spots over the years. And then those healthcare clients told, because they loved doing it, it worked for them, it moved the needle, and it made them look like heroes. So they started telling their healthcare client friends, and pretty soon people were licensing our spots all over the country. And that's how we funded all the productions that we did over the past 20 years. Susan, over that 20 years, I kind of made a little tally, has raised probably over $400,000 for us to do our job in 20 years. We had no other funding, so we would never been able to produce half the productions that we've done for free for people when there's been no money. So Susan, this Lifetime Achievement Award is for you. Come on up. You have done an unbelievable lot for us. So besides all the amazing volunteers, I want to recognize some people for their nonprofit leadership as well. And I couldn't start this without first recognizing Lisa Lilligren. She was the first executive director of SERV in 2002. I don't think she had any idea of what she was getting into. Did you? No. None of us did. But I'm not sure she had a choice to join us when I told her that God told me she was going to be our first executive director. But no one was more excited to come into work every single day and take on ridiculously difficult cause accounts because we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't really know how to sell things to people, really provocative ads to people. But she did everything. She did the books, she did the PR, she managed the events and the volunteers, she did the work plans, the dishes, the floors, everything. There was no other people to do all that stuff. You did everything. You were executive director. Heather knows that too. But we did amazing work together in those first few years. For diabetes, for Susan G. Komen, the Partnership for a Drug-Free America, Brain Injury Association, Shake and Baby Association. And even though we had a lot of great campaigns killed, I know there was also a lot of frustration. And even though we were down to our last month's rent at least 3 different times in those first 3 years, we didn't know how to pay the next month in our 2-year lease. We just had no money. And we didn't know where it was going to come from, but it always miraculously came. You were always optimistic. You never let it stop you. And we learned together how to get powerful work sold. We learned how to pay the bills and start a nonprofit, and how to navigate that nonprofit world, even when things didn't work. And we learned together, and we learned that when we did powerful work, it actually worked, which was incredible, which is the most important thing. But everything that you did set us up for all the success that we've ended up having over the last 20 years. You've always stayed positive. You always found a way to make it fun. Even when we were in the haunted place on, what street was that? Milwaukee Street. You chased them down with Liz with hockey sticks late at night, and ghosts in that building. But you are one of the biggest reasons that SERV is still here today, and it's flourishing because you set the bar. You set the bar for what it takes to start and run an organization that's never been done, and it's still never been done. It's never been duplicated. So you're an amazing leader, and you also have a heart of gold and a big heart for service. So Lisa, please come up and thank you for your nonprofit leadership. And then we have Heather Perkins. Where's Heather? Our second executive director. It's funny, I almost didn't hire Heather. I was down to 2 people, and they were both really talented. Heather was pretty outspoken and pretty brash, and she scared me a little bit. She had red hair, and I thought, well, we're too different. We're way too different. This isn't going to work. But thankfully, I didn't let that stop me, and I saw the passion that you've had. And even more importantly, the fearlessness you have to get things done. Because that's what we actually needed at that point, to push through to the next level of our work. Like Lisa, you did it all. You did the events, the PR, the planning, you cleaned the bathrooms and the kitchen. Although my wife said you did a terrible job cleaning the bathrooms. She would come over once a month and go, oh, it's terrible keeping this place clean. But anyway, you would lobby people who tried to stop our campaigns, and you'd beat them. You basically refused to let campaigns fail. And I learned so much from you doing that. Both fearlessness, but especially I learned compassion for helping others. You took every project so personally, sometimes a little too personally, I thought, but we did so much amazing work together. Teen homelessness, running rebels, gun violence, foster care, teen pregnancy, campaigns that actually move people to act, that help build incredible nonprofits and put a light on that they couldn't do themselves. And you changed the whole trajectory of SERV. So your passion for doing good is incredible, and you're still doing good today, which is incredible through your own organization. So Heather, please come up and accept this lifetime service award. More. Dawn and Victor Barnett. Where's Dawn and Victor? Raise your hand. All right. They've been running Rebels their whole lives. At 19, if you don't know the story, Victor decided something needed to be done in the city to prevent youth from doing drugs and joining gangs and getting arrested. So he started the Running Rebels as a 19-year-old. Dawn joined him in 1997. Today, Running Rebels serves over 3,000 youth a year. They mentor them, they teach them life and job skills, they wrap their arms around them as they help guide them from, transition from youth to adulthood. Dawn and Victor, thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do to help the youth of the city. I can't think of better role models. Anybody that's better than you for how to live your life, especially in the service of others. It's been an honor to have gotten to know you and work with you, to serve and watch you grow. So Victor and Dawn, come on up. Present this lifetime service award. Nicole Angrisano, she's the Vice President of Community Impact for United Way Milwaukee. There couldn't be a more fitting title, by the way, for anybody, because the impact that Nicole makes across the community is unmatched. Nicole is a force of nature out there. When she sees a problem, she runs toward it. She's always looking out for those in need in the community, and then she figures out a way to get the partners together and solve it. And no matter how impossible the cause is. One of the hardest but most enjoyable campaigns I've ever worked on was with her. The 7 years we did teen pregnancy with her. And it's become one of the country's most successful campaigns of all time, and a big reason for that success is Nicole. So Nicole, I'm going to accept this award for her. She's out of the country right now, but give it up for Nicole Angrisano. Carmen Petrie, where's Carmen Petrie? Carmen is the president and CEO of Sojourner Family Peace Center, as you probably know, if you watched the news last night, probably. There's no one who's done more for women and families and even men affected by domestic violence in Milwaukee than Carmen. Not only has she devoted her whole life to making Milwaukee a safer place, but Sojourner now helps over 12,000 people a year. She's completely helped transform the way domestic violence is handled and treated in Milwaukee, and she's really helped make Sojourner a national model for how you provide all the wraparound services needed and resources for a domestic violence victim all in one place. Everything needed to find safety and justice and eventually healing. So Carmen and I'm honored to have gotten the chance to work with you and your staff over the years many times. So I'm proud to give you this Lifetime of Service Award. Give it up for Carmen. And last but not least, definitely not least, Mike Voss. Mike is the founder and CEO of BBK. He didn't know he was going to get a award. I knew he would never come tonight if I told him I was going to. If there is one person we absolutely couldn't have done CERB without, it's Mike. No other agency in the country has done what we've done. And I know this because I've had probably 50 agencies, some really big agencies, call me over the years and read about it and say, how do you do serve? And when I tell them, they never call back and they never take back because it costs money. You're the sole reason that serve is even possible. Because 20 years ago, I don't know if you remember, when I walked into your office, it was a Monday morning, I was really excited to tell you what I was going to do the rest of my life. I told you what happened at church on Sunday, what I wanted to do, and that what BBK needed to give. And after 10 minutes, I said, I rattled all this off, and he said, okay, that's it? And I'm like, yeah. He said, yes. He didn't hesitate. He didn't ask a single question about what I had just told him. Not one. He simply asked me, because I had it all written down in a form, and I had his signature at the bottom, like you said. He goes, well, what do you want to do now? Do you want me to sign this, or shake your hand, or what do you want me to do? And I'm like, no, I guess if you want to do it, we'll just do it. And what's followed has been nothing short of amazing. BDK has donated over $1 million a year for 20 years. All the resources, do every campaign you've seen to help all the underserved causes you saw on that first slide. And Mike has supported serve in every cause you've ever helped since. He's never asked a question. I know he hates the spotlight. It's worse than Rob, probably. But Mike, can you come up here and please accept your lifetime of service award? And making sure possible for all the people who have been here. Well, you know what? I realized I had pictures for people and I totally missed them. There's Rob and I. There's Susan with a blue man guy. There's Lisa and there's Heather. There's Carmen, very serious. Okay, we're not going to do best orange outfit, we're going to do that last. So next we're going to do the live auction. So we have some incredible live auction items tonight.